It's time for the Friday Five. We've seen a lot of free agents go off of the board, especially this week with the winter meetings in San Diego wrapping up. But there's still a lot of big-time free agents out there that could make your team a playoff team. So let's go through them. And by the way, these are all position players. We'll get to the pictures a little bit later in the show. Let's start with number 5. Michael Brantley. This guy is going to be able to hit until he's 50 years old. He's just one of those types of players. A smooth swing from the left side of the plate. They don't call him Dr. Smooth for no reason. So if you look at what Michael Brantley has done in his career, he's been able to hit 300. He has elite bat-to-ball skills. He doesn't strike out. He gets on base and adds a little bit of a power contact profile that could help any lineup. I think if you're a playoff team, you look at Michael Brantley and say, okay, this is a guy that can hit third, he could fourth, fifth, sixth, it doesn't matter, and really help you out. A team like the Padres could be really in on this guy because it just adds a different level of hitter to your roster. Let's going to number 4, Michael Conforto. And as you have some teams up there that could really use his services, the Chicago White Sox, the Padres, the Yankees, the Rangers, and the Colorado Rockies. So the thing with Michael Conforto, he did not play last season, had a shoulder injury, and he had a qualifying offer attached to him. So a lot of teams are kind of staying away from that. But he's just only a couple seasons off of 30 homers and 90 RBIs for the New York Mets. Has always been able to swing the bat, swing for power, hit for average. You can slide him into multiple spots in your lineup, third, fourth, fifth, impact middle of the order bat, and he can slide into either corner defensively. So when you look at Michael Conforto, one of the better power guys left on the market. I'm going to number 3, Andrew Benintendi. Now, we've talked about him on the show before. Is a different level of profile of hitter than some of the other guys up here. He really found himself with the Kansas City Royals last season, and it's a traditional 2-hole hitter, a guy that can spray the ball around the yard, has really high contact rates, gets on base, scores runs. Did not get to show that with the New York Yankees after being traded over there at the trade deadline. But you add Andrew Benintendi to a lineup around the big leagues hitting second, it could be a guy that can get back to an all-star form that he was in with the Boston Red Sox. Going to number 2 here, Dansby Swanson. Broke down Dansby Swanson last week, what he can do defensively as one of the best, if not the best, defensive shortstop in all of Major League Baseball, and has turned himself into a really solid hitter, has added a lot of power over the years. There's a lot of teams out there that missed out on Xander Bogaerts, missed out on Trey Turner, so that could leave you looking at a guy like a Dansby Swanson. I'm looking at you, Chicago Cubs, and that leaves number 1, the other shortstop left on the board, and that is Carlos Correa. Look, the 2 shortstops that have gone so far have averaged $290 million. That is a big-time Joshua Perry money. And you look at what Carlos Correa is going to get, he will likely get well over $300 million. Some teams that could be in on Carlos Correa, the Minnesota Twins, where he played last season, the Chicago Cubs, the San Francisco Giants, and the St. Louis Cardinals, who just acquired Wilson Contreras to be their catcher and replace Yadier Molina, who retired. And so when you look at Carlos Correa, he's the best, clearly the best on the board, could be a potential MVP if he gets back to that level and be a guy that many teams out there still covet.